The weak girl who couldn't scream in the darkest corner of the Kralex prison ship, a girl sat alone. Her name was Lyra. She had chains on her hands, cuffs on her feet, and a collar around her neck that stopped her from speaking. She looked small, weak, and broken. Her hair was messy. Her clothes were torn. Her eyes, half closed, stared at the cold floor. The guards never noticed her. To them, she was just another human, useless and defeated. Once, humans had tried to fight the alien empires. They had failed. Earth was gone. The stars belonged to others now. Lyra had not spoken in years. The collar on her neck wasn't just a chain. It was a device made to block her voice. Any sound she made turned into silence. She had forgotten what her own voice sounded like. 2 alien guards stood outside her cell. One of them, a tall, red-scaled warrior, looked in and laughed. "She's still breathing," he said. "Why keep her alive?" asked the other. "No power, no threat, just another forgotten creature." But they didn't know. They didn't see her eyes. Not properly. Because today, for the first time in a long time, her eyes were open, wide open, and calm. Too calm. Long ago, before the prison, Lyra had been part of something special. A secret. Even she had forgotten. In the trauma, the pain, the loss, it had buried everything. But today something woke up inside her. It started with a whisper. Not from outside, but from within her mind. "Can you hear me, Lyra? This is Phoenix Protocol. You were never alone." She blinked. The voice was clear. Calm. It didn't sound like fear. It sounded like home. "We are the last spark, and you are the flame." She touched her collar. It buzzed slightly like it was reacting. The whisper continued. "Your time is coming. Stay quiet. They don't know yet." Lyra closed her eyes. A memory returned. She was a child, in a lab, surrounded by scientists. They told her she was part of Project Ember. They said she was important, special. Then the war came. Earth fell. Everything was lost, or so she thought. Back in the cell, she sat still. She didn't cry. She didn't move. But her heartbeat changed, slower, stronger. A strange light flickered near her fingers, so soft it could be mistaken for imagination. Outside, the ship's alarms suddenly flashed red for a few seconds, then stopped. "Power glitch," one guard said. "Stupid old systems." But Lyra knew better. That wasn't random. The voice came again. "We've been hidden inside this ship's systems for years, watching, waiting, and now, with you, we can begin." She looked at the wall in front of her. It wasn't just metal. There were tiny lines, old human tech hidden in the structure. Something was waiting. A soft blue light glowed under her skin. The cuffs on her wrists blinked once. Her collar made a strange click. Meanwhile, the alien captain sat in the control room, sipping black liquid from a crystal cup. "Everything quiet?" he asked. "Too quiet," his officer replied. "Except one thing. The human girl, her cell, shows a strange heat signature." "Which human girl?" "The one who doesn't talk." The captain frowned. "Impossible. She's nothing." But the lights flickered again. And this time, they didn't come back on. Back in her cell, Lyra stood up for the first time in weeks. Her legs were shaky but strong enough. She looked at her hands. Sparks danced at her fingertips. Something inside her was waking up, and something inside the ship was answering her. "You were powerless once," said the voice, "but not anymore." The door of her cell clicked. Unlocked. She didn't smile. She didn't speak. But for the first time, she moved with purpose. Far across the galaxy, in a hidden base buried under black ice, a monitor beeped. "Phoenix signal active, host." Lyra unit confirmed. A scientist looked at the screen, eyes wide. "She's alive," he whispered. "And she remembers." Back on the ship, the red-scaled guard returned to check the cell. "She's still there?" he asked. But the cell was empty. Only the cuffs remained, still warm. And written on the wall, glowing faintly, were 5 words. "We are not extinct yet." The voice from the ashes, darkness. Silence. Freedom. Lyra moved through the hallways of the prison ship like a shadow. Cameras blinked but didn't see her. Doors clicked open before she touched them. It was as if the ship wanted her to move. She didn't run, she walked, slow, calm, dangerous. Her body still remembered pain, but her mind, it was becoming something else. Stronger, clearer, like a system restarting after a long sleep. In the control room, chaos bloomed. "The human is gone," the officer shouted. "Which one?" "The mute." The captain's face turned pale, or whatever pale looked like for a 6-eyed purple alien. "Check security logs." "There are no logs." "The system, it's like she was never there." "Impossible." The captain hissed. She had no voice, no powers, she was nothing. But even as he said it, something deep inside him whispered a warning. She was never nothing. Meanwhile, Lyra reached the core of the ship. A long silver door stood in front of her. Her hands hovered over it. The voice returned in her mind. Not a whisper this time. "Phoenix. Core link successful. Welcome back, Lyra." She stepped inside. The room was unlike the rest of the ship. It was older, human-made, buried deep inside alien tech, hidden like a seed under foreign soil. Lights turned on one by one, revealing a machine the size of a room, glowing blue, pulsing like a heart. Suddenly, screens around her flickered to life. A face appeared, not human, but not alien either. It was something else. A synthetic face with deep glowing eyes. A blend of old Earth tech and something newer, something smarter. "I am Ash." Lyra blinked. Ash? Artificial survival host, built during Earth's final days. Buried in this ship during evacuation. You are my connection, my purpose. You're the last key. Lyra's memories came like rain, and fast and heavy. She remembered labs, scientists crying, the sky full of fire. She was only a child, but they had placed something inside her. Not a weapon, not a virus, but a signal, a living code. She wasn't just a prisoner. She was a carrier. She was the backup drive for humanity. "Why now?" she asked Ash. Her voice was hoarse, speaking for the first time in years. The collar had fallen off sometime during her walk, unnoticed. "Because now, the galaxy is ready to listen. And fear. And because Earth is not dead." Lyra froze. "What?" "Earth fell, yes, but it did not burn. It hid. Project Ember scattered the last humans across stars, waiting for the Phoenix. Waiting for you." On the bridge, the alien captain yelled orders. "Seal the ship, find her. She cannot escape." But systems didn't listen anymore. Doors opened when they should close. Gravity shifted. Screens began showing something strange. A human face. Lyra's face. Glitchy, looping. "We are the ashes you forgot. We are the storm you deserve." Guards panicked. Some ran. Others dropped their weapons. Superstition grew fast among alien soldiers. They had heard the stories of a girl with no voice, of a ghost from a dead planet. And now, she was real. Back in the core room, Ash revealed a map. It showed stars, ships, secret bases, a hidden network of surviving humans, rebels, scientists, soldiers, sleeping, waiting. Your signal will wake them. Your voice will unite them. You are not the last, you are the first. But just then, danger. The ship's emergency AI, loyal to the alien fleet, activated defense mode. Ceiling turrets dropped. Alarms howled. Warning, unauthorized core access detected. Ash's voice turned sharp. "You must run, Lyra. I'll hold the system. Go to the escape pod. Coordinates are already set. But you carry more than you know. If they capture you, the last light dies." She hesitated only a second, then ran. Turrets fired, metal screamed, but nothing touched her. Doors opened, walls shifted. Ash was helping her. The ship itself bent around her path. She reached the pod bay, only one pod remained. Inside it, a suit, a mask, and a small glowing cube, labeled Genesis. She picked it up. The cube pulsed softly. It felt warm, alive. That cube is the archive, Ash's voice said, fading into her mind. Every memory, every map, every code, all of Earth. Protect it. Become what they fear. She stepped into the pod. The doors closed. Engines hummed. Just before launch, a final message flashed on the screen. The Phoenix has taken flight. The pod blasted out. Outside, stars stretched like lines. Light danced around her. She was free. And for the first time in her life, she felt powerful. Not because she could destroy, but because now, she had something worth saving. Back in the alien ship, silence returned. But legends had already started. Prisoners whispered. Guards trembled. And on 10 different planets across, far systems, coded beacons activated, all triggered by one signal. A heartbeat, a voice, a name. Lyra. And far, far away, in a dark, secret place, a council of ancient beings watched the footage. They had ruled for centuries. Controlled planets, burned empires. But now, they had a problem. One of them leaned forward and whispered, "Find her, kill her, before the myth becomes a movement." Too late. The myth had already begun. The awakening begins. The escape pod hit, the ice with a scream. Metal slid across frozen ground. Sparks flew. For a moment everything was silent, just wind and ice cracking beneath steel. Then the hatch opened. Lyra stepped out, wrapped in a thermal cloak from the emergency kit. The cold bit at her face, but she didn't flinch. Her breath misted in, the air. She was on Garn 7, a forgotten mining moon orbiting a dead planet. No cities, no ships, no life, or so they thought. She held the glowing cube tighter. The Genesis archive. Everything Earth had once been. It pulsed like a second heart. "Safe landing," came Ash's voice in her mind. "You have 6 hours before they find you." Lyra looked up at the black sky. A storm was coming, but not from above. From within. Miles beneath the ice, something ancient stirred. It wasn't alien, it wasn't machine, it was human. And very, very old. Ash had called this place Ember Vault 1, one of Earth's last failsafes, hidden during the final war. It held the last awakening protocol, something she would need to complete her transformation. But first she had to get in. Lyra walked for hours. The cold was cruel, but she had walked through fire once. Now she walked through frost like a queen of shadows. Her body still ached, but her steps were stronger. Every minute, her senses sharpened. Her fingertips itched like they were plugged into the moon itself. She could feel static in the ground, hear distant frequencies whispering through the wind. She didn't understand it fully yet, but something was changing. Finally, she found it, a black door buried under snow and stone. It had no lock, no handle, but her presence was enough. The door hissed open. A warm light spilled out, golden, humming, like the memory of a sunset. She stepped inside. The Ember Vault was alive. Machines blinked, screens lit up, human tech mixed with alien salvage patched together by survivors long gone, and in the center a pod. A stasis pod. Inside it, floating in green liquid, was another Lyra. No, not her. A clone, a mirror, a warning. "This was your fallback," Ash explained. "If you didn't survive, this body would take your place. But you did survive. And now you must complete what we began." The Genesis cube floated from her hands and connected with the pod. Waves of data shot through the room, and Lyra screamed, not in pain, in memory. She remembered the labs. Not one, hundreds. She remembered running through fire, holding hands with a girl who called her sister. She remembered being injected with nanothreads that lit up her blood. She remembered the final words of her mentor. "You are not a weapon. You are a warning." Then, silence. Until now. Her body collapsed, but her mind didn't. She fell into darkness and opened her eyes inside the Ember Vault's neural system. She was no longer just Lyra. She was every version of Lyra ever designed. Warrior, spy, strategist, survivor. She was the human backup plan. Inside the vault's mind space, she met something else. A child, sitting on a swing, wearing her face. Laughing. "Who are you?" Lyra asked. The child smiled. "I'm the part you buried." "The scared one?" "No." The child whispered, eyes glowing. "The angry one." Suddenly the vault trembled. Outside, they had arrived, alien bounty hunters, not soldiers, assassins, paid by the council that feared her rise. 3 ships landed on the ice. They brought energy nets, EMP rifles, DNA trackers. They thought they were hunting a girl. They didn't know they had just entered a waking god's tomb. Lyra snapped back into her body as the vault lights turned red. "Status?" she gasped. "You're almost complete," Ash said. "One last piece remains. You must link your mind to the Ember Core. It will hurt." "How much?" "Enough to break who you were." She didn't hesitate. She stepped into the core and screamed again. This time, the kind of scream that changes everything. Outside, the bounty hunters moved in. They found the open vault door. One of them laughed. "This is too easy." That was their last sentence. The walls of the vault moved. They weren't walls. They were dormant machines, hundreds of them. Human-designed. AI-run. Programmed for one purpose: protect the Phoenix. The hunters didn't have a chance. Screams echoed across the ice. And in the heart of the vault, Lyra floated above the ground. Her eyes glowed white. Her veins pulsed light. She had connected. The Phoenix had awakened. Her mind now touched everything. A hidden colony of humans praying in silence. An old ship drifting in space, waiting for orders. A rebel spy deep inside the council, passing her name like a prayer. Lyra. She no longer needed Ash's voice in her mind. She had become part of Ash now. She was data. She was memory. She was fire and frost. And yet she still felt human. She still felt angry. And she was ready. The vault shook one last time. Then it went quiet. Lyra walked out, alone. Behind her, the hunters' bodies lay still. Above her, a beacon shot into the sky. A signal, warning, a promise. "To the council," she whispered, her voice echoing through space. "You wanted me gone, forgotten, buried. But you forgot what humans do best. We rise." Back in the alien High Council chamber, the signal reached them, one by one. Screens lit up with her face. One counselor stood slowly. "This isn't a girl anymore," he said. "She's a myth." "No," another whispered, terrified. "She's a movement." The myth spreads. In the dusty marketplaces of Sken Prime, where alien merchants sold black market tech and forgotten relics, someone passed a small data chip to a stranger. No one saw the hand. No one saw the face. But within hours, everyone had heard the message. A voice, clear, steady, human, echoed through illegal networks across space. "You tried to erase us. You failed. We are not a ghost. We are the fire you buried, and we remember everything." Attached to the voice was a short video clip, a woman standing alone in a snowstorm. Her eyes glowed. Her body shimmered with strange light. Alien ships fell from the sky behind her like broken toys. One word flashed at the end. Lyra. At first, people laughed. Another fake myth. Another space fairy tale. But then, strange things started happening. A council ship exploded near the border of Sector 19. Surveillance footage showed no weapons, no attackers, just static, and a faint outline of a woman walking away. A weapons lab went offline. All the scientists vanished. No bodies. Just a message carved into the wall. We take back what was stolen. On a prison moon, 200 human captives were freed overnight. The guards swore they saw her. The myth was no longer just a whisper. It was a movement. Lyra, meanwhile, moved through space without a ship. She had no crew, no fleet, just the cube, the Genesis archive, and her voice, now amplified by systems that had once belonged to her enemies. She didn't need weapons. She was the weapon. But more importantly, she was a symbol, and the galaxy had forgotten how powerful that could be. In the shadows of a ruined spaceport, an old man, part machine, part memory, looked at a picture of her and smiled. "She walks like the old ones," he muttered. "Like Earth never died." In the deep void between stars, the High Council panicked. They called emergency meetings. They burned evidence. They paid mercenaries, hired killers, deployed fleets. But every time they moved, they only made her louder. Because Lyra didn't strike with bombs. She struck with truth. She released data logs showing what really happened to Earth, that it was betrayed, not destroyed. She shared secret files showing how many humans had been taken, experimented on, turned into slaves. She revealed how the Council tried to erase a species that wouldn't kneel. The galaxy listened, and many believed, but not everyone celebrated. Some feared what Lyra represented: power without control, a memory with teeth, and worst of all, hope. Hope is dangerous in a broken galaxy. It makes people ask questions. It makes them stand. In a silent city, on Valor 3, a statue of a council leader was torn down. In its place, someone painted her face. Simple. Bold. Under it, only 2 words: still human. On a mining station, an alien child asked his father, "Is the fire girl real?" The father looked out the window at the stars and whispered, "I don't know, but they're scared of her. That makes me hope she is." And Lyra? She didn't hide, but she didn't conquer either. She freed slaves, disrupted weapons shipments, took over comm stations, but never stayed in one place for long. Because myths move, you can't cage them. You can only chase them. Eventually, the council got desperate. They did something stupid. They built a trap. They sent out a signal, a fake distress call from a human survivor. It was obvious bait, but Lyra answered anyway. The signal led her to an asteroid base. She arrived alone. The base seemed quiet. Too quiet. She walked through its metal halls, walls lined with human tech, all stolen. Her fingers brushed a console. It blinked. Too late. Containment field activated. Energy walls shot up around her. Hundreds of soldiers appeared from the shadows. Snipers, drones, anti-human tech. She stood still, didn't blink. One general stepped forward. "You're not a god," he said. "You're just a girl with tricks." Lyra looked him in the eyes and smiled, just slightly. "That's the problem," she said. "You still think I'm alone." Then the lights went out. Across the galaxy, humans, hidden in plain sight, received a signal, a heartbeat, one they'd waited decades to hear. The Phoenix Pulse. One by one, they activated: sleeping agents, refugees, scientists in hiding, soldiers with no war. They rose, not with guns, but with purpose. Back on the asteroid, the lights came back. The soldiers were gone. Not dead, just unconscious. Each one lying on the ground, weapons melted, minds untouched, but scrambled. Only the general remained, shaking, eyes wide. Lyra stepped forward. "I don't want your war," she said, "but I will burn your lies." She touched his helmet and whispered into his mind, "Tell them this. We are still here. We are still angry. And we are done being quiet." She vanished before the backup teams arrived. Only her message remained, broadcasted across every council screen. The myth has teeth, and it remembers how you treated us. Some called her a terrorist, others, a savior. But all agreed on one thing: she was real. And far away, in a place not marked on any map, a group of humans lit a flame. Not digital, not symbolic. A real fire. Old school Earth style. They gathered around it and whispered her name, not in fear, not in awe, but in belonging. Lyra. They knew the truth now. She wasn't the last of them. She was the first. The war they didn't see coming. The Galactic Council met in silence. No jokes, no tea, no arrogance, just fear. 13 alien leaders sat at the obsidian table surrounded by glowing holoscreens, all showing the same face. Lyra. The footage was from 3 separate attacks. A council weapons factory exploded from the inside. No traces of explosives. A fleet of supply ships vanished in open space. Only static and a faint human heartbeat in their last recording. A live broadcast hijacked during a council award ceremony, where a hologram of Lyra had whispered, "You built a galaxy without us. Now we remind you who built the stars." "She's not an army," said one of the leaders, fists clenched. "She's one girl, one freak." "No," whispered another, "she's a movement." And they were right, because across the stars humans began rising, not in open war, not yet, but in waves. Small rebellions, sabotage, truth leaks, power thefts, and one by one, the cracks began to show. Meanwhile, far from politics and polished marble rooms, Lyra stood inside an abandoned moon base staring at something impossible. A ship. But not just any ship. It was the Horizon 1, Earth's last war cruiser, believed destroyed during the fall. Only, it wasn't destroyed. It was waiting. Sleeping. Its black hull was still scarred, its human insignia still visible, under dust. "We end where they begin." Ash's voice buzzed in her head. "They buried this ship here. Thought it was lost. But Ember agents saved it, hidden in the shadow of dead moons. It runs on neural sync. Only a chosen link can awaken it." Lyra stepped forward. Her hand brushed the console. The lights flickered. Then, power surged. The ship hummed like a waking god. Inside Horizon 1, the bridge lit up, screens blinked, weapons warmed, and a voice, old, metallic, and unmistakably human, spoke. Phoenix recognized Commander Lyra, standing by for instruction. She stood at the center, hair whipping in the recycled air, eyes glowing. She was no longer running. She was no longer rising. She was leading. Around her, humans from every corner of the galaxy began arriving. Old ex-soldiers, scientists with burned ID chips, children who'd never seen Earth but carried its fire in their DNA. They didn't come for revenge. They came for memory and for justice. Lyra broadcast her first official message across the star systems. "This is not a war of fire. This is a war of truth. You erased our planet. You erased our names, but your galaxy still runs on what we created. We will not conquer. We will correct." At first, the council laughed. Then Lyra crashed their communication grid. Then she unlocked medical data the council had kept secret, showing how they'd used human DNA to extend their own lives. Entire species now learned they owed their survival to the very people they tried to erase. Riots broke out. Protests turned violent on a Kiroth. An entire alien city declared independence from the council, raising the blue and white flag of old Earth in the streets. They didn't even know what the flag originally meant. They just knew it now meant hope. The council scrambled. They hired warlords, offered credits, blackmailed systems, but none of it worked. Because you can't kill a myth, and you cannot bribe a soul on fire. In the shadows of the void, Horizon 1 moved, faster than sensors could track. Lyra led her new crew to sabotage black sites, free forgotten slaves, and destroy weapons built to control minds. But the most dangerous strike? It came without warning, a council gathering on the neutral world of Vexar, every important leader present, high security, impossible to break. But the moment the main speaker stepped on stage, the sky above turned blood red. Not naturally, digitally. Every screen flashed Lyra's symbol, a phoenix rising through ash, and her voice followed. This is not a threat. This is a mirror. Look at it and ask yourself, what do you see if not your own fear? You killed our world, but you made our legend. Then, above their heads, a fleet appeared. Not big, not flashy, but terrifying. Ships made from Earth's dead tech, rebuilt with alien scraps, crewed by forgotten names. The crowd screamed. Council leaders ran. The security grid collapsed in 30 seconds. Lyra never even landed. She just left one gift behind, a data spike. Inside it, thousands of documents, names, dates, experiments, crimes, proof. In the following weeks, 9 council planets broke alliance. 3 top officials disappeared, 2 species declared full support for Earth's rebirth, and 1 young alien girl carved "Lyra lives" into the walls of her school before vanishing into the stars. Lyra sat in the command chair of Horizon 1, looking at the map of stars before her. Ash spoke softly. "You've started something unstoppable." She replied, almost whispering, "I didn't start it. They did. I'm just finishing the sentence." But peace was not coming yet, because something dark was rising too, from the old edges of space. An ancient force, awakened by the Phoenix signal, something the Council buried even deeper than Earth, and it was not happy to hear humanity's voice again. Lyra closed her eyes. She could feel it, like thunder at the edge of a calm ocean. Something big, something terrible, coming fast. She looked out the window. Stars blinked like silent warnings. "Let them come," she said quietly. "I remember how to burn." The rise of the last human. The ship was silent. No lights, no signals, no heartbeat, and yet it moved. Drifting at the edge of the unmapped zone, beyond even the oldest known star charts, the vessel was ancient, older than the Council, older than memory, and inside it something opened 1,000 red eyes and began to remember humanity. Far across the stars, Lyra stood on the observation deck of Horizon 1, staring at a map that had started to change. Every time she liberated a planet or broadcast the truth, the map updated, blue sparks glowing in places that were once cold. But now, new signals were appearing. Not blue, not friendly. Black, cold, wrong. Ash's voice echoed in her mind. "I don't know what it is. It wasn't there before, it's not Council, it's not even classified as life. It's waking up." Lyra didn't answer. She was still thinking about the last encounter. A high-ranking Council commander, who, after being captured, had whispered something strange. "You think we were the top of the food chain? You think we erased you because we feared your war? We erased you because they feared your return." She hadn't understood what he meant. Until now. In the hidden core of the Genesis Cube, a locked file began to open on its own. Project name: Black Sun details, pre-Council. Entity: non-biological, non-physical, responds only to ancient Earth neural DNA, capable of system-wide manipulation. Status unknown. Location: now active. Lyra's blood ran cold. She turned to Ash. "Did Earth build this?" "No," Ash replied quietly. "Earth found it and tried to hide it." She stood before her crew, humans from different stars, reborn soldiers, tech experts, children trained in shadows. They looked up to her, not because she asked, because she earned it. "We thought this was about revenge," she said. "We thought we were fighting to be seen, to be remembered." She looked at the screen, at the black signal growing like a cancer on the galaxy map. "We were wrong. This is not about being remembered. This is about making sure there's something left to remember." In the Council's hidden moon fortress, panic ruled. Their own tech had stopped responding. Fleets lost contact. Entire databanks wiped. Their last emergency meeting, only 6 of the original 13 counselors remained. One stood up, his voice shaking. "It's not Lyra. It's something worse. Something she woke up." The others stared at him and said nothing, because they all felt it too. But Lyra wasn't running. She never ran. She launched Horizon 1 directly toward the unmapped zone, right into the dark. The closer they got, the stranger it became. Time slowed, light bent, even thought felt thicker, and then they found it. The black sun. Not an actual sun, not burning, just a sphere. Perfect, smooth, black like space itself, but more alive. Orbiting nothing, guarded by nothing, and yet every ship that got close before vanished, Ash warned her. "If you connect with it, you might not come back, not as you." She nodded, then stepped into the neural chamber. This wasn't war anymore, this was communion. She touched the Genesis cube to the chamber's core. Her eyes rolled back, her body froze, and her mind was flung into a place older than creation. She stood on a dead earth, ruins. Ash. Silence. The sky cracked like glass. And there, sitting on the last piece of moonlight, was a being. Not man. Not machine, something in between. It looked at her with eyes made of static and spoke. "You are the last." She stared at it. Of what? Of meaning. Your kind was not feared because of violence, but because of imagination. You dared to ask why not more. That question almost destroyed us. And now you return. Lyra clenched her fists. You fear us. We fear your potential. And so we became the failsafe. We are here to finish the story, before it writes itself. You are the final paragraph. But Lyra wasn't afraid, not anymore. Because in that moment she realized something. The Council didn't try to destroy Earth because of war or territory. They did it because someone whispered in their ears, if humanity remembers who they were, they will remember what they can become. She smiled. You're not here to erase us. You're here to stop us from evolving. The entity tilted its head. We are containment, but you are becoming uncontainable. This is your last choice. Fade quietly, or rise, and risk the collapse of everything. She took a deep breath and whispered, then let it collapse. She woke up screaming. The ship's systems were sparking. Ash's voice was chaotic. You made contact. Every system's reacting. They're coming, but so was she. Her body had changed. Light pulsed beneath her skin. She could feel satellites in her mind. Speak through broken circuits. See through distant comm feeds. She had become more than a symbol. She had become a signal. She stepped onto the deck. Her crew stared. One whispered, Commander? She nodded once. We stop running, we stop hiding, we end this. The black sun began to expand, a silent explosion of gravity and memory. Across the galaxy, humans and aliens alike saw the same thing in their skies. A dark circle growing and, in front of it, a single ship, Horizon 1. Back in the council chamber, the final leaders prepared to flee. But it was too late. Their systems went dark, their fleet stopped responding, and on every screen appeared her face. Not angry, not cruel, calm. This is the rise. You tried to stop it, but you only made it louder. We are the last, but we are enough. Ships across the stars changed direction. Aliens who had once looked down on humans now stood beside them. Because in Lyra, they saw not just rebellion. They saw possibility. The black sun howled, but Lyra didn't blink, because now, she wasn't standing alone. She was standing with a planet's worth of memory, a species rebuilt from ash, and a galaxy ready to remember what it forgot. She looked into the void and walked forward. The living myth. Is it true she still walks among the stars? The child asked with wide eyes, holding a hand-drawn picture of a woman with glowing eyes and fire at her feet. The elder smiled but said nothing, because truth had become complicated. And myths don't always wear boots. Across the galaxy, the skies had changed. Where once there were council flags, now there were symbols of the phoenix. Not a government, not a military, just an idea. An idea that said, you cannot kill a voice, you cannot erase a name, and you cannot stop a spark when it chooses to burn. But the black sun was still growing. No weapons could stop it. No code could shut it down. It was not a fleet. It was not a god. It was a conclusion, a final failsafe from before time, built to end anything that risked rewriting destiny. And Lyra, now something more than human, but still human enough to hurt, stood at the center of it. On the bridge of Horizon, the crew watched in silence. The sphere now covered 1/6 of the sky. It did not glow. It consumed. Ash whispered through the comm. It will rewrite all memory, not destroy, erase, like we were never born. Lyra stood still. Her body hummed with energy. Her thoughts were louder than alarms. Then we give. It's something it can't delete. She accessed the Genesis cube, not to use it and to merge with it, Ash shouted in protest. That much power will kill your body. Lyra didn't flinch. Bodies die. My voice doesn't have to. She stepped into the core chamber. And in that moment, she felt everything. Every Earth song, every human laugh, every story told on cold nights before lights went out. Every last breath of those who believed in something better. She didn't just hold it. She became it. Outside, the black sun reacted. It stopped. Paused. For the first time, it hesitated. Because it felt resistance. Not from weapons. From memory. From meaning. From Lyra. Then, it spoke. The voice was not like sound. It was like gravity, pressing into the minds of every living thing. You are a glitch, a narrative error. Your persistence threatens balance. Lyra's reply echoed across every comm, every screen, every pulse. Balance without choice is control. You don't want peace. You want silence. The final battle did not begin with missiles. It began with a message. Lyra broadcast one last, not just through systems, but through space itself. A coded burst of emotion, memory, DNA, and myth. Every ship, every mind, every planet, every species. They felt it. The full, unfiltered truth of humanity. Its pain, its madness, its hope, its ability to stand up, even when everything says stay down. The black sun began to break apart, screaming. Not from pain, from identity loss. It could not contain this much raw story, this much meaning. It collapsed inwards, unable to delete what refused to be forgotten. But Horizon 1 was caught in the blast. It began to fall apart. Ash cried out through the system, Lyra, you'll burn with it. She smiled softly. Then let me burn. But make sure they remember why. The crew begged her to escape. She shook her head. If I go, the myth ends. If I stay, the myth becomes eternal. She pressed her palm to the console and vanished in a flash of light. No body was found. No beacon. No trace. Only silence. And then, a whisper. Not from a mouth. From the stars themselves. Years. Later, the council? Gone. Their systems collapsed under the weight of truth. A new order rose, not ruled by species, but by values, freedom, memory, voice. The Phoenix banner flew not above cities, but inside hearts. Children in space academies now learn of the Silent One, the girl who couldn't scream until she taught the galaxy how to listen. Temples were built on frozen moons, not for prayer, for storytelling. One such temple sits on Terra Nova, the first new human homeworld, a place not built from war, but from the ashes of it. And inside that temple, under the glass dome that looks up into the endless sky, there sits a message etched in stone. We do not rise to conquer. We rise to be remembered. We rise because we remember who we are. And in the stars above, travelers sometimes report something strange, a single streak of light, too fast to track, too bright to ignore, and for a second, just a second, they hear a voice. Still human. Some say she became code. Some say she became energy. Some say she's still walking, somewhere beyond known space, watching, waiting. But everyone agrees, she is not gone. Because you can't kill a myth, especially one that learned to walk in silence and rose like fire. Lyra. She was the last, but she made sure she'd never be alone again.